Mr. Seshadri, and all not seen in video also, everybody.
Good evening, Ganeshan, Palaniswamy, and everybody.
Yeah. Good evening,
sir. Good evening, Jagdish sir.
Who is Redmi Note?
Shall we just...
Good evening, Dr.
Thank you.
Who is telling me good evening?
Well, Jagdish, Mr. Jagdish, madam.
Good evening, Mr. Jagdish. Namaskaram.
Good evening, Mr.
Vanakkam, vanakkam.
Vanakkam.
Vanakkam, Mr. Jagdish.
Hello. Good evening, good evening.
இங்கிலீஷ்ல சொன்னா தமிழ்ல சொல்லுவீங்க, தமிழ்ல சொன்னா இங்கிலீஷ்ல சொல்லுவீங்களா?
அந்தரிக்கு வந்தனமோ.
Total 13 people are there, sir. 13.
Yeah, 13. I'm just waiting for more people to come in. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes. After that, we'll ask our speaker to start the session.
Yeah.
Premium 1,211. Good evening, Prasad.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Prasad.
Yeah, good evening, madam.
I think we are 13 members now.
Only 13.
I have say.
You can wait for another 5 minutes if you want. No problem.
Yeah. 5 minutes. Only 13 of us are there.
10 minutes grace time is always there, even in government.
I think we'll wait for some more time. Yeah.
Another 5 minutes. Then you can start, people will join.
Last year இவ்வளவு கட்டணும். இந்த
இங்க
இங்க திறக்கலாமா?
இது இதுக்கு செக் கொடுக்கலாம், இது கேஷ் தான் கொடுக்கணும். ஏன்னா தேர்ட் பார்ட்டி
வீடியோ ஆன் பண்ணுங்க.
லைன்ல
Good evening, Mr. Rotarian Dilip Ghosh.
கிடைக்குது.
மியூட் பண்ணிக்கிறேன்.
இன்சூரன்ஸ் பண்ணலாமா வானா? நீங்க எடுக்கலன்னா பண்ணாதீங்க, விட்டுருங்க. எப்பனா ஒரு முறை எடுத்தா கூட பண்ணலாம்.
Mr. Prasad, I would like to make a request. A lot of EC meetings and even the other members also feel that we should resume the birthday wishing on our meeting days.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling today is the best day, most apt day. We can wish our great Rajgopal sir. His birthday falls on the 16th of September.
Oh, okay, nice, certainly. Certainly.
It's a great blessing that he is with us.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody can join me.
Advance happiest namaskaram, sir.
I request everybody to sing a happy birthday song together.
Yeah, I think Dr. Padma can do that.
No, to whom?
Last time
Mr.
Rajgopal sir on 16th of September.
Oh, yes.
It is his 95th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah. Very nice.
அவருக்கு நமஸ்காரம் பண்ணா
உங்களுக்கு என்னோட ஆத்மார்த்தமான நமஸ்காரங்கள்.
Madam, sing a song, madam.
Thank you.
Happy birthday song.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
advance.
Happy birthday, dear
Rajagopal sir.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Any more happy returns of the day. 100 வருஷம் இருக்கணும்.
Okay.
100 வருஷம் ஆரோக்கியமாக இருக்கணும்.
ஆரோக்கியமா இருந்து எங்களெல்லாம் bless
கடவுளை
பண்ணணும்.
நாம் வேண்டுவோம்.
கை நடத்திட்டு போனோம்.
Thank you. Thank you.
For anything we think of you and ask you only.
Mr. Arun.
Yes.
Mr. Rajgopalan is our senior most and oldest member. He's 95 years old and still
96.
active each and every day of
96,
his life. Huh?
Can we say he is our Pitamaga?
He is a Bhishmacharya of our club.
Okay.
He is the Pitamaga for senior citizen forum.
Right, he is a Pitamaha for our senior citizen club.
Yes. Definitely we are lucky to have such a person.
Who guides us so well?
மேடம் நம்ம எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து கனகாபிஷேகம் செய்திடலாம் மேடம் சாருக்கு.
கண்டிப்பா கண்டிப்பா
கனகாபிஷேகம்
நிச்சயமா பண்ணலாம்.
அவங்களுடைய ஆசீர்வாதம் நம்ம கோணும். கனகாபிஷேகம் 100வது வருஷம் செய்திடலாங்க.
நிச்சயமா
ராஜகோபால் நம்ம சிவராமனோட அம்மாக்கு போய் பண்ணோம், ஞாபகம் இருக்குல்ல உங்களுக்கு? கனகாபிஷேகம்
She passed 100.
சிவராமனோட அம்மாக்கு கனகாபிஷேகம் பண்ணினோம். 100வது வயசு செலிப்ரேட் பண்ணார், நம்ம எல்லாம் போனோம்.
ஓ ராஜகோபால் சாருக்கும் போய் பண்ணிடலாம் நம்ம, அவ்வளவுதானே?
Shivaraman's mother, we performed 100th year.
Okay.
அவருடைய நட்சத்திரம் என்னன்னு தெரியல மேடம். சாருடைய நட்சத்திரம் அந்த நாள்ல தான் செய்யணும்.
என்ன
சார் உங்களுடைய நட்சத்திரம் என்ன?
போராட்டம்.
போராட்டம். ஓகே.
போராட்டம்.
என்ன ராசி? மகர ராசியா?
மகரம் வராது.
தனுர் ராசி.
உங்களுக்கு இந்த ராசி தனுசு. Dhanush Rasi.
Okay, I call the meeting to an order.
Okay,
we
sir.
start the meeting today.
Please
I
mute
request
everyone.
everybody to mute your thing except the speaker. Everybody else should request everybody to be muted till the end of the session. After the end of the session, you can unmute and one by one and ask your questions, or you can post your requirements on the chat box, and I'll call each one by one. Okay. I now request Sri Arun Bose to present us his beautiful lecture, which we are waiting for a long time. Mr. Arun he's a Bangalorean very much, and he keeps shuttling between Bangalore and Tiruvannamalai. Tiruvannamalai, he's got a series of cottages which he hires out or gives it on rent to foreigners who come in. I mean, a lot of foreigners keep coming to Tiruvannamalai. So those people, some of them stay there in Arun's cottage. And he's been associated, his family has been associated with Sri Ramana Maharishi in Tiruvannamalai for a very long time. And they're very well entwined in the tradition and culture of Sri Ramana Maharishi. Today, we hope we get a lot of insightful, unknown secrets of the Sri Ramana Maharishi today, so that we can enrich our lives to India better way. I now request Sri Arun Bose to kindly present his lecture.
Shall I start?
Yeah, you can start that one.
Yes. Okay, like everyone was speaking Tamil a lot. So I think Ramana Maharishi, his basic thing was in Tamil, Nida Adu Artha avana avladhaan, vera onnu illa, na ellal adu avladhaan. Okay, so how did our family come in contact with Bhagwan? Was a very long time ago. In the 20s, my grandfather was working for the Maharaja of Baroda, and he had a roommate, and his roommate was another gentle. Both fellows were called Aurobindo. My grandfather was Aurobindo Bose, and his roommate was Aurobindo Ghosh. Okay, both of them were very interested in philosophy and all that. And so they worked for Maharaja of Baroda for quite some time. Then my grandfather, the Maharaja, sent him to Germany to study to become an engineer. He paid for him, my Maharaja of Baroda. And when my grandfather went to Germany, he worked in a German company called the Deutsche Werke for many years. And the director of the Deutsche Werke, it was one of the biggest German companies making ship diesels, those big ship engines. And the director was also a great admirer of Max Muller and all the Hindu philosophy and the Hindu things. So my grandfather, him, used to have a lot of conversations. The director's daughter of that company used to listen in to the conversations. And ultimately, well, both of them got married, and my mother was born, and her brother was born in the 20s. My mother was born in 1929. Then, well, my grandfather kept going up and down from here, from Germany to India. And then he got into he got involved in the Quit India movement, and got into quite some trouble with the British, since, of course, he was in the German area, right? And he was sent to jail in the Andaman Islands, and he escaped from there, did a lot of things, then went back to Germany, up and down. Then after some time, he went to visit his friend in Pondicherry, who was Aurobindo Ghosh. And Aurobindo Ghosh, since they were always talking philosophy, Aurobindo Ghosh said, "Do you really want to see a realized person?" And my grandfather said, "Yeah, sure." And so he said, "Go and see Ramana Maharishi." Somewhere in the 1930s, 33 or 34, he came to the ashram and he met Bhagwan. And after that, he was quite taken in by Bhagwan and his teachings and all that. And so he, of course, went back to Germany to pick up his family, to be with his family. And then, of course, the war was about to start. And so actually they took the last ship out of Germany in just before the war started, the last ship, and they landed up in Bombay. Then he took his family, that is my mother, brother, and his wife, the German wife, took them for a trip around India to see where they would like to stay, right? So they went right around India in a Ford V8 car. They drove right around, and they came to Tiruvannamalai. And the first time, this is my mother's reaction when she saw Ramana. She said, Ramana looked at her and he said, "What is your name?" And she said, "My name is Maya." Remember, she was 7 years old, right? So he said, no, not Maya, he said, Mahamaya, he said. Okay. And she, at that moment, I think she found him amazing. She couldn't get over that impression from the age of 7. Then, of course, they came to Bangalore, and because the weather was nice, they kind of settled down here in Bangalore. And my mother and her brother went to school in Bishop Cotton's. And they used to spend all the holidays in Tiruvannamalai. And many times she would walk up the hill with Bhagwan up to the Skanda ashram, or sometimes she would just wait for him. And when he came down, he would sometimes smile and ask her, "How is your studies? How are things going with you?" And like that. So that was the basic introduction that our family had to Ramana. And then it carried on throughout. From the age of 7 to the age of 21, she would, nearly 14 years, every holiday she would spend there in the ashram. And the interesting thing that she always would say about Bhagwan is that he hardly said anything. He didn't say much. Once in a way, he would say something. So here are some things that she directly witnessed. One day, one chap came inside into that old hall, and he said he did Ashtanga Namaskar. And all these things, he did that. And Ramana slightly frowned. She said in the whole time that she knew Bhagwan, He never changed his expression. But that one day he slightly frowned and he said, "Innathukku idella in the tamasha? Why are you making this tamasha? Now unku vannu kudu mudiyadu. Nee mele po, mala mele po, Arunachala mele po. Ange unku kedigudu. Nee da paakanu. Nee yaar irukudu, nee da therinu." So that is one thing. Then another time a foreigner came in and he was wearing a namam and he had a juttu. And Ramana asked him, "What is your name?" So he said something like Janardhan or something. And he said, no, what is your real name? The name that you were born with. And he said, well, John or something like that. So he said, yes, that is enough. Be as you are. Don't change. There's nothing to change. Be as you are. That has always been there. So my grandfather, he was so devoted to Bhagwan. He started a business here in Bangalore, and he would perpetually be going up and down from Bangalore to Tirunelveli all the time. And he started Amco Batteries, which is a company in, it was on Old Mysore Road, together with another friend of his, Mr. JRD Tata. He was managing and technical director, my grandfather, and JRD gave the finances. So that they ran for some time. And most of the time he spent all his money and thing in the ashram. Then he bought a piece of land opposite the ashram in 1935. 1936, he built the first cottage there, which we have. And there are about 8 cottages around. And from those days, whenever people used to come, that is foreigners like Paul Brunton, Chadwick, Mrs. Meston, various people, they would all come and stay in these cottages. Yeah? So it's been around since those days. He basically wanted people to come and have that presence of Bhagwan as well as the presence of Arunachala. As Bhagwan always used to say, go to Arunachala. I myself have come to Arunachala, and Arunachala is what brought me here. And Arunachala actually is an amazing thing, amazing power that it has in it. You might think it is just a mountain. No, it is far beyond that. It's amazing. My dad was American. I lost him when I was about 2 years old. Yeah? So I always used to call Arunachala Dad. So the relationship that you create with Arunachala is like a father. And that's the beauty of it. The response is exactly like a father. It will be always with that sublime bliss in it. It has enormous bliss. And you can enjoy that your intuition develops to be able to listen to that speaks within without words. And yet you know, that is Arunachala. That I always, when I was young, I used to look at, when I was very small, I used to look at Bhagwan's picture. Right? And I used to say, I want to know what this guy is thinking. And I was very small, 5, 6 years old. Yeah? And well, I became a very strong Shaivite. I did a lot of Shiva Puja, since, of course, we have a big Shiva temple there, right? And I did an enormous amount of Shiva pujas and did all the pujas and wore all the namam and all that stuff. And I cycled around the whole of Tamil Nadu, cycling around and visiting all the temples. Yeah. And I mean, I'm trying to show you the way Arunachala works. It's quite amazing. Arunachala's power is amazing. So I was once cycling around. I came to a temple between Kadalore and Tanjore. And in those days, in the that would be the 80s, yeah, you could sleep in the temple. Nobody would ask you anything. Today, of course, they'll throw you out. In those days, you could come and sleep. So one day I was sleeping in this temple called Tarasaram. It's a very beautiful temple, small temple. And one pujari came up to me. So he said, early in the morning. So he said, "Young man, what are you doing here?" In a perfect English accent. So I was very surprised. I said, "Well, sir, I'm cycling around looking at all these temples." So, jolly good show, young man. But he looked like a Pakka Tamil pujari. Then I said, "Sir, where are you from?" Well, he said, "I used to teach English." I said, "Oh, sir, where did you teach English?" Well, he had taught English at Oxford. Absolutely. He was an Oxford University professor. And if you looked at him, you'd think he was some ordinary chap with one ordinary chap. Then he said, "Okay." There was nobody in the temple. So he said, "Come, I'll take you around the temple." He said, perfect British accent. Huh? So he took me around the temple. Then he came across the Dakshinamurti statue. So he said, "Do you know what that is?" I said, "Oh, well, that's Shiva." He said, "No, that's Shiva in the form of the teacher." So he said, "You see that mudra? What does that mean?" I said, "No, sir, I don't know. You tell me." So he said, "Well, there are three aspects of life: the tamasic, the rajasic, and the sattvic. Now, with the tamasic, you have a negative emotion. That is, you have greed. Greed. The rajasic, you have jealousy. Why? You have businesses, you have things, and then that guy's got a bigger car, and so you got to get a bigger car or a bigger business. Those greed, jealousy. Then you get rid of these two, and you come to the sattvic. Now the sattvic, he says, is very nice, but it has one very great negative thing. He said, "And what's that, sir?" I said, "I thought sattvic should be." He said, "No, it has one negative thing. It is anger." Anger. I said, "What anger?" He says, "The others also have anger, but this one has a very dangerous anger." He said, "It's called the anger of a holier than thou attitude. That is the sattvic. But get rid of these three," he said, "then man will meet God, and then you will become a zero. If you understand nothing, then you are everything." So, like that. Then I cycled on down to Tanjore, Madurai, and came back to Tirunamalai. And somewhere a little voice told me, "But you forgot Shakti. You know, I used to go to all these temples, but I didn't go to the Shakti temple. I only went to the Shiva temple." So I said, "That's true. I forgot Shakti." So I went back again and visited all the Shakti and did Shakti Puja. So I said, "Okay." Then I did that. Then little boy said, "But you forgot Vishnu." Oh, I said, "Vishnu, that's true." So I went back again and I visited all the Vishnu temples. But of course, this time I remembered Lakshmi. I said, "Okay, I remember now." Okay. And the little boy said, when I came back, "But you forgot Jesus." I said, "Yes, Jesus." So I went to various churches and various things all over, right? Went there. And I cycled around Germany, visiting churches, parts of Europe. And then little boy said, "But you forgot Allah." I said, "Yes, that's true." And then I went visiting Muslim friends, went to the mosque, doing all kinds of things. And every time when I was in each one of these periods, I would always meet amazing people that did not have any differentiation with anything. Always met fantastic people. Once I went to Shivaji Nagar, Gujri, and I just went there early to buy some. I have some old cars, so I want some car part. Very early, one old Muslim chap said, "Ah, beta, kya? Ah, baito, mere saath mein baito." Then we both sat there and he said, "Hari, isko ek chai de do." He just sat there, did nothing much. And the way he talked was beautiful soul. He was wonderful, totally a relaxed person. Absolutely. Another instance I can, just to show how Arunachala works. I was a national shooter as a national archer as well. And one day I was sitting outside Kandirva Stadium. Okay. And I was sitting in a bench in Kaban Park, just near the stadium. One fellow stops his bike, comes up. Sir, can I sit here? I said, yes, sir, you can sit. It's a free park. There's a place on the bench. Please sit. Sir, may I ask you a question? I said, okay. Have you been to Tiruvannamalai? I said, I was looking at him, wondering, what is this? I was a bit surprised. So I said, yes, I have been to Tiruvannamalai. Sir, there is one yogi there. His name is Yogi Ram Surat Kumar. If you see him, he took out 50 rupees from his pocket. Said, please give him some bananas and some packets of cigarettes. Because he used to smoke, that fellow used to smoke cigarettes. I had not heard about him. I said, this is amazing. Immediately, the next day itself, I caught a bus, went to Tiruvannamalai. And I went to this yogi's place near the temple. And I knocked at the door early in the morning. And his Sisha said, illa, aur thoongra, apra va. But the yogi heard it. He came out. Illa, come inside. So we both sat there. And I used to smoke Charm cigarette, and he used to smoke this Charmina cigarette, which I gave him, and bananas. Then he smoked that, I smoked mine. And I said, Yogi, do you want to try mine? He said, yes, I'll try. Then you must try mine. And we both sat there for him. Then he said, young man, and he patted me on the back. What do you want in life? So I looked at him and said, to know what you know. And he started laughing. He gave me a great big hug. Wonderful person. And we just sat there, did not much talking. And then after about 1.5 hours, I got up and he came right up to the end and waved me to the end of the street. Amazing thing. Yeah? That is Arunachala. Arunachala always sends you somewhere to go beyond, to show the oneness in everything. Then one day I was a national state #1 archer. And I was with my secretary came to me and asked me, look here, this Satya Sai group want you to come and shoot an arrow to start the sports of in Puttaparthi. I said, well, I don't know anything about Satya Sai. So I said, okay. So I went there. And the first day I saw the whole thing. And they put me in a particular position. And all those boys in Whitefield, I came with that group. And they all wear white. But I was wearing this army dress and this hat. Okay. And Swami comes up, looks at me, and he said, room. So I said, yes, they gave me a great room. I said, super room. They gave me a very nice room. I said, super room. So he smiled and walked away. Then I didn't go anywhere. Then somebody said, I think he called you for interview. I said, how I know? I said, none of you people told me anything of this. I said, I don't know. And then I came back later on the sports day, shot that arrow. Very good. Then we were all sitting in line. They said, you sit here, Swami will call you for interview. I said, okay. Then some whole bunch of police guys came in the front. Police guys. Police chief of Mysore. One guy was sitting me, he was a hang glider. He also did one exhibition on that sports day. He said, Hari, now we'll not get to see Swami. So I said, so what? If you have to see him, you will. If you don't, so what? I said. Because to me, it was uninteresting because I didn't even know what Swami was. So, okay, I said, all right, very good. And then he called this first group and these police chaps went inside. Then he called us and I was the last fellow. Then he stopped me. He said, what happened to you? I called you for interview last time. You didn't come. I said, how I know? I don't know anything about you. Nobody told me anything. He said, you are a very naughty fellow. He said. And he slaps me on the face. Go sit inside. So I went inside, sat there in one corner. I didn't say anything. And he goes out, gives some pieces of cloth pieces to people. And he didn't give me anything. Then this guy, the hang lady was one strange fellow. He said, Swami, you didn't give him anything. He said, Sumne eru nan gotto avaru yaru. Then he asked the policeman, Niyu gotto avaru yaru? He said, Niyu gotto avaru yaru? He said, I don't know who he is. He said, he is Arjuna. When we all have a problem, we have to go to Arjuna, he said. He started laughing. Then everyone filed out. Then he stopped me and said, come here. Then he said, I know. Your mother used to go up the hill with Ramana. He said, I know. He said. I said, how do you know? And he started laughing. Bhagwan. Satya Sai. Then he said, he started laughing. Then I said, okay. Chalta hai. And then he produced one ring and the ring didn't fit. Then I said, it's not fitting. Then he blew it and it changed and became something else. I said, what? So anyway, I was quite surprised with the whole thing. And then I left. Once in a way, I would visit the ashram here in Puttaparthi. But to me, always Arunachala always sends me out. And that is what Ramana is all about. Yeah, to go there. And the basic thing that I've learned with Ramana Maharishi is that I have done this. I am not anything special. You also are that. Only become aware of it. There is nothing that you are not aware of. Just become that. But be as you are. Nee eppadi irukka appadi iru. Summa iru. Pesukudadu jaasti. Prasad sir made me speak a lot today. Usually I don't say anything, but na summa irukku. Pesukudadu, but appadina. Okay, right. Sai Ram. So, well, that is our connection to Bhagwan, to the whole of Tirunamalai. My basic connection, as I said, is always Arunachala. That is what drew Bhagwan from Madurai to Tirunamalai, and that has been always. When I leave Tirunamalai, I say, bye, Dad. When I come to Tirunamalai, I say, hi, Dad. And so that's it. So I presume I still have some more to talk, or I'm over with it. Like somebody asked my mother, she's 92. She's one of the last people who knew Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi personally. So somebody asked to write memoirs on Ramana Maharishi. So she said, how can I write anything on a person who taught silence? There's nothing to say. Yeah. So she says, there's nothing to say. You just have to feel him. I mean, he is really what you say, that what you say, Sadguru. And then he says the Sadguru, of course, he says in all of us. Not him. It is the Sadguru, which is in every one of us. Arunachala, or you may call whatever you want. Sai Ram. Arunachala Shiva. Okay, my conversation is over. I've talked about now 40 minutes. Sai Ram. Prasad? Prasad, I know for a long time. With Sri M. Sri M also, what a wonderful person. He also wonderful to have met him. Yeah, I have been doing yoga for 30 years. So I met him in our Bihar School of Yoga. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Hari Om. Hari Om. Yes. Yes, Prasad.
Some more insights on spiritualism for senior citizens.
Insights on spiritualism. Yes.
Spiritualism for senior citizens. We are all members of Senior Citizens Club. People of from 60 years upwards to 95 years are members.
It's like Sir Francis Bacon said, old age is always 15 years older than I am. That's the way to think. Old age is always 15 years old. Like my mother today, for example, she was climbing on one ladder to cut the bougainvillea. Can you believe it? And she has difficulty in walking. Okay. So I told my son, I said, better go and watch what she's doing because I had to go somewhere. So he went and watched her. I said, Are you? But she has that, basically, the mind over matter. Okay, pain is there, as you know. Bhagwan had cancer, he had in his arm, but yet he ignored it. And actually, you can ignore it. I've come across that many times. Like I was once shooting in archery in Shillong, and I went for a walk in the forest, and I sprained my ankle, both ankles, after some time. It was mind-blowing, but at some time you have to overcome it, pain or whatever it is. And that basic thing of detachment, that is the key. And surrender. Surrender is also very important. Surrender, that's all. Yeah. Okay, Sairam. Right. Okay. Yes, Prasad.
What do you advise for senior citizens to follow spiritualism on an everyday life?
Follow it as the way you feel peaceful with it. If you are peaceful with it, it brings peace to you. That's enough. Without judging anybody else, just do that. Finish. Wonderful.
Mhm.
Yes. Everyone be as you are. All of that. Yeah. Yes. Then what else do you want? Prasad?
Request questions from the audience, one by one.
If they have questions.
Now, are you in Bangalore or in Tirunelveli?
I'm up and down, mostly. Up and down, sir.
I am Jagdish. Hope
Jagdish.
you remember me,
Yes, sir. I will remember you.
Shankar's brother.
Oh, okay. Shakta's brother. Oh, Sairam. But I can't see you. You're not on. There's
Nowadays, you are not seen at all in the shop.
No. I mean, there's no
Video of
video of him.
he has switched it off. He has to switch it on.
Correct. Okay. Otherwise, I would have recognized, but I couldn't see. Okay. Then next. Hari Om. Yes, Prasad.
Any other questions from the audience? Please get it cleared.
No questions.
No, I think our knowledge on spiritualism is so poor, we don't even know how to ask questions, I think. We only want to listen to people. All that. That's the truth.
Listening is very good.
Yeah.
And then that's all. That's all. Enough. Silence.
For your information, my father, who was a freedom fighter, just before he joined freedom struggle, he was associated with Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi. He suddenly disappeared from the house without telling the people. They were all searching. He simply headed towards from Chennai. My hometown is Chennai. So just headed to Tiruvannamalai and stayed there for some months and stayed with Bhagwan. And then afterwards joined freedom struggle and then so on.
He might have met my grandfather also. Most
Definitely,
likely.
I think so.
100%. Yep.
You would have.
True. Yes.
Hello, my name is Palani Swami, sir.
Oh, yes, sir. Sairam.
Sairam. I went Ramanasri Mahar 1973, first time I went there, sir.
Okay.
It's a very nice place for the meditation.
True.
I like that peace of mind there and
Yes.
love that place is very nice. And I want to know, you told me in your in the Tarasaram temple is very nice architecture and anything.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah, Tarasaram is a very nice place. If you know any other special in the Tarasaram, please tell me, sir.
Mr. Palanisamy, you see in Wikipedia about the Tarasaram temple, lot of information about Tarasaram and a very, very nice thing. I'm not remembering now. Very significant things are given. Please go through it. Wonderful it is.
No, that is built by the brother of Raja Solan.
Yes. And there
Raja Solan brother only is built that temple. Yeah, very nice. If anybody is like to see, it's a very nice architecture and anything.
Correct.
Tiruvannamalai temple, such an ancient and very big temple, and we have all visited actually in a group trip. It was arranged like a picnic and all those things, and we went, and as he said, we visited Ramanashram, everything, the temple. Just to come around once itself, the temple is so big. Like Tanjore, Tiruvannamalai temples are all so big.
Huge temples.
All constructed by great kings, no? So it was huge, really, architecture.
Enter inside that area itself, you can get the positive vibrations in you. Automatically, you feel calm and very happy, or the inner peace you get it. And especially going and sitting in that hall, just forget, you don't feel like again coming back from there. I used to travel very often over there.
And Mr. Arun, you were telling Bhagwan was suffering from cancer and he ignored it. I am a medical doctor. For your information, actually, he allowed the surgeon to operate on him without any anesthesia. Throughout, he was just bearing it. Everybody knows this, but still, I just want to bring it here.
Yep. Yes.
Hello, probably now you can see me.
Yes, now you are there. Correct. Yes, Jagdish. Yes.
I am seeing you.
Yes. Long time.
When do you propose to come to our shop?
To shop? I come to visit Shankar. Maybe you see me times. Yes.
Okay.
I'll come say hi to you. Yes, I know.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right.
What will you views on Shankaracharya?
Shankaracharya. Adi Shankaracharya.
Yeah.
Well.
Kanchivat.
Yeah.
Paramacharya. He's called as Paramacharya.
No, Adi Shankaracharya is different from Kaladi, the first sage.
First one.
During our century, Paramacharya was there. At the same, Adi Shankara is very old,
He is old.
It is our Paramacharya. Yeah. Then now Ipa Pudu Periva.
Well, it's like there is one like Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, when he first came somewhere outside Tiruvannamalai, he saw Arunachala from far away and he said, "Oh, I will not come closer." I think he saw it from 30 kilometers away. And he said, "Oh, this whole place is completely full of lingams. So I will not go forward." So he just greeted Arunachala far away and went. Adi Shankaracharya. All of them basically speak the same truth. Like there was one Swami, I think he was one of the, he was called Chai Kade Swami, somewhere nearby. So somebody asked him, "Swami, idella inna?" He said, "Idella one illa. Idella one illa. Ni ada artha aichi. Idella one illa. Ni da adu. Ni artha aicha. Illa namak artha avala. Apram poda aichi. Po. Artha avanu. Yeah. That means adu. That's all. Yep. Hey Ram. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Pardon me, Swami.
Yeah.
Any other questions, or shall I carry on now, Prasad?
Yeah.
All.
Mr. Vijayaraghavan, you are there? Available?
You see this on,
Is there, Dr. Vijayaraghavan?
Huh?
do you see it on,
Yeah.
you can see everybody on one. I can only see one person.
Yeah. Mr. Vijayaraghavan, can I request you to propose a vote of thanks?
What's it? What happened?
Yes. I don't think he heard you, Prasad.
Yeah. He's available, but I don't know. He's not able to hear it. I don't know what is the issue.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So
Okay.
He's there.
On his behalf, I propose a vote of thanks. I thank Mr. Aron Bose for the wonderful talk on the connection with Sri Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi.
Prasad, he's come on. Vijayaraghavan is available.
Mr. Vijayaraghavan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good evening. Request you to propose a vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I'll do it.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Because there's been some sort of small problem. I just couldn't make it out. On behalf of our senior citizens,
I think there is something.
Some problem.
Arunachala. And furthermore, the Mudra verse, many of us do not know the significance. So he has given us, at least we should try to understand what it is. And I'm sure as seniors, we will definitely do some try to understand much about it. Another one, we asked him about spirituality. Well, he said it's all in the mind. So I think everything goes into our mind, and we should try to stick to it, and we'll try to do our best. And as you said, I don't know what way to express it. It's in the mind, yours, and you should get detached from so many things. In one way, it's good, and we should try to follow it. Of course, it's not possible. It is easier said than done, but we should try to do it, sir. So thank you for your very good talk, sir. And I should also thank the president for having invited you for this occasion. And last, not but the least, before that, I should thank RCBC for allowing us to use their platform, and also a great thank to our members who has made this program a grand success. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Also, our chairperson for attending the meeting.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Rotarian Prem Kumar.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Prem Korea.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Aron, very much. Very grateful that you came and gave us a lecture, though it took us quite some time to get hold of you.
Well, yeah, as I say, I'm always caught up doing some maintenance work on all these old house structures.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the best. Have a great time. Thank you.
All
Hope
the
to see
best.
you. When you come to Shankar's place, please give me a call so that I can come and meet you.
But not there now. No, you have a shop, different shop now.
No. He's when you come to Shankar's shop, you just give me a call. I'll come there.
Okay.
Yeah. All the best. Bye. Take care.
Take care.
I call the meeting. I'm closing the meeting. Thank you all for participating.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad, for arranging this meeting. It was a lovely evening for us to know something very spiritual, to know about one of our great